What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin Jon and Rin.
And we have yet another album review for you. And one that I wanted to go over just because I have this band's first album. It was absolutely disgusting. Figured, why not check out what they're going to do on the next one and pretty much bank on it being disgusting as well. Blech. So we are going to go over the latest offering from Contaminated, Celebratory Beheading. This also comes out on the 9th of February on Blood Harvest Records. This band formed in 2013 in Australia. This is their second album. As I said, I checked out their first album, actually own it, Final Man, which is just absolutely bonkers, disgusting, gross death metal. And that is still very much an accurate descriptor of this band. It's just, well, feral. I mean, they used feral in one of their song titles, and that's totally accurate. And yeah, the album cover is drastically different than the first one. I feel like they did like a live action tribute to None So Vile. Either that or they saw the news in Pennsylvania here recently and was like, you know what? That's really messed up. Let's do that. But even Final Man didn't feel like it was prep work for this one, because I've listened to that album multiple times and it is absolutely gross and very spastic. In fact, I would say there's a lot of grindcore in their sound too. But this album, I think the grindcore really kind of took over, because this is possibly even faster, more unhinged, and even more raw.
Yeah, from the very get-go, kicks off with the song Suffer Minutiae. It's blasty when it starts, but, like, that's not even all of it. Like, it gets through this big chug section and then just off to the races with fast grind. Like, it just kicks off.
Yeah, like, initially, I kind of had this band kind of compared to, like, you know, Autopsy, Ruin out of California, even a little bit of Undergang in there, but you know, there's always been like a little bit of grind to them, but again, like the grind is really kind of taken over in here. Like there's a lot of stuff in here that, I don't know, it kind of sounds like a hybrid between like Terrorizer and Incantation, which sounds very heavy on paper because it probably would be. But this is even more nuts just in terms of like transitions and the speed and just how quickly things will change in these songs. Like it's very unhinged. Like I'm reasonably sure that this band was raised by wolves or dingoes rather, because Australia, and they probably have to be kenneled at night because they are just absolute savages, and that is the energy that is all across this album.
This music is hellishly chaotic, just violent, and the rare parts when it actually slows down and you're trying to grab onto it, it's like trying to grab two lubricated badgers in a burlap sack. You can do it, you just got to tire them out, really.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can tire these sons of bitches out. These Australians are mad, I guess.
Venomous, reasonably sure.
Most Australians are venomous, I think. You have a song like Final Hours, which it starts kind of grindy, then it gets into like a nice mid-tempo kind of stomping thing. And then there's some doom stuff, which is awesome. Yes. And that's the stuff I like, is when you grab, you just, it's gross, but I can see the gross. I want to see why it's gross, I guess. What's slimy? Oh, that. Ew. I'm like, what the fuck? That looked slimy. I missed it. It was so fast, I didn't even see what slimy thing flew past me.
Yeah, everything is kind of coming at you at 1,000,000 miles an hour here. There are awesome riffs everywhere.
Yes.
But, you know, they don't hang on to them very often, especially in the more grindy sections. Like, it's just, we're going to this. No, we're not. Yes, we are. And then sometimes out of nowhere, you get these really strange transitions, like the song Cosmic Shit Show, which sounds like the cosmos essentially falling apart or being torn apart by something horrible.
Or the cosmos just shitting on people.
Yeah.
You have to watch.
Which, you know, that's what the cosmos does.
It happens from time to time. Just keep your mouth closed. And your eyes. You don't want pink eye.
Yeah, no. You don't want pink eye.
Fun.
Cosmic pink eye.
Poop in your mouth is okay. Just get it out. But pink eye stays there for like a week and a half.
Chew some gum.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Like a solid 9 days.
But despite like the super chaotic nature of that song, which I can use that term to describe a lot of these songs, there is an absolutely wild transition in it. Like it goes from, you know, alternating between sludgy grooves and just nasty grindcore, you know, kind of blast beat sections. Like even when this band is going fast, it doesn't feel like death metal fast.
No.
It feels like grindcore fast.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden it just shifts into this drum and bass groove that is Yeah, oddly pleasant.
Yeah,
and
it was cool.
Weird.
But
I mean,
weird.
he's not even hitting the snare drum. He's rim shotting. So you got like the quiet drums and this kind of smooth bass. To me, it's an all-straight trick. The song Fracture and Failure, or it's Failure. It's something off the first record where there's like 3 minutes of just this drum and bass groove. It's really cool. But that's what that was, and it came out of nowhere, and it never repeats.
They never did that again.
Yeah.
No, but they do like an interesting thing where they build into that groove and kind of make this like dissonant, almost more atmospheric melody towards the end. And honestly, it's one of the catchier just like hooks on this album. Like, yeah, that's really interesting, and it's kind of cool, even though I feel like I started a whole new song right when it shifted. But again, like the transitions in here are sharp.
But then it just transitions back into the noisy chaos.
Yeah, like right away. Next song, Final Demise.
Yeah.
You know, you get this slow, isolated, gross riff.
Blah.
And, you know, when it slows down, like, there's just grossness everywhere.
Yeah,
Here's
we're
the
ta-
empty thing.
Yeah, we're talking like Disma levels of doom. It's just... bleh.
Farrell builds into, like, a really nice, like, disgusting chug. Like, there's this kind of syncopated, slow stomp to it, and then, like, what I would describe as, like, a choir of pukes in terms of the vocals. The vocals on here are kind of as raw as they were in the first one, which, I mean, it's just, like, caveman, ooga booga, grunts,
Noises.
occasionally some screams every now and then.
Noises!
Yeah, all of them.
And the end of Junkyard Warfare, Celebratory Beheading, where a guy just straight barfs over an isolated bass. So I guess that's the other time the isolated bass groove comes back.
Yeah.
But,
Somebody, like, it's in the background, too.
but he's straight barfing.
Yeah.
Or turning into some sort of ooze monster.
Yeah, no, it could have been like a zombie transformation right there. I wasn't sure if, like, someone asked if he was okay in that one, but they probably should have, because that sounded like, you know, it was a dry, kind of rotten barf.
Don't blow the take. Don't blow the take.
It's the morning after you get drunk.
Yeah.
Not when you should have barfed.
Yeah.
It's the morning after during the hangover.
The fizzy one.
Oh my god.
But that little moment there is kind of interesting because we were, you know, sitting around talking about it because, of course, that's what we fucking do. But we came to, like, maybe a realization, and it could be the fact on this one that I feel like a lot of this just seems like it was jammed in a studio. Like, just flat out, like, kind of one take, because it sounds like everything was going at the same time. Like, there's not a lot in the production where it is, like, super separated. There's a lot of bleed over, so you get this increasingly raw, more disgusting sound.
And because of that, you actually hear, at least I heard a couple times, it's a little sloppy. Like, there were a couple of transitions that weren't quite nailed as far as tempo was concerned, and then there's some other just straight fuck-ups. There's one in the end of Junkyard Warfare, 100%.
I mean, who knows, that little intermittent moment there was just pretty much a playthrough, maybe. Who knows, like, is he okay? Like, no, just play through. Keep going. Dude, studio time's expensive. And the production itself, like, honestly, it sounds more like a demo, which I'm pretty sure that was kind of what they were going for, to make it sound as raw and rotten as possible. But, like, it has this sort of vibe, like, this was like an underground band in the 90s, like, you know, like well below like the levels of all the death metal bands you probably heard of. Like, oh no, they only had like one demo, but it's sick. And it came out in 1993. My buddy in high school showed me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of like that. I mean, I would call it like a step above a demo, but miles below studio magic.
There was no studio magic happening.
No.
click tracks, no auto-tune, no tone fiddling.
No, the tone itself is just murky.
No wah pedals, no fucking nothing.
No, just like a sizzly, gross amp. But again, that's all kind of like part of the aesthetic here, because like this is just absolutely grimy and filthy. But where it comes together, though, is generally, again, in those slower moments, like Final Hours. Final Hours has some of the best riffs on the entire album. And honestly, it's one of the most dynamic tracks, or at least it's dynamic enough where you can like pick the transitions a little bit easier.
And it's like 6.5 minutes long.
Yeah, I mean, at least with this song, they kind of let things breathe enough for you to be able to latch onto them. Like, they don't immediately rip the groove away. Like, it's punky at first, then you get some cool off-time grooves, but they hang on to them. And then the straight-up, like, Autopsy Doom section, which whoops ass.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, there's some great tremolo harmonies on there, too. Like, it actually gets, like, a little bit more atmospheric. Like, there's, like, kind of an openness about it, and instead of being like, you know, someone throwing bricks at your face, you know, like Randy Johnson destroyed that bird, you know, we've all seen that video.
Yes.
But, you know, it kind of slows it down, and you can actually have some time to like absorb it. And again, the transitions are a little bit less sharp just because they have more room to work with. And there still are grindy spots in there. Like, it's still blasty in spots, but I think the fact that it is not predominantly that made that track really stand out. Another one where I think they kind of did a good job of that was the song Apex Chud, which any reference to Chud, I absolutely love. And that's definitely not Bud the Chud. He's low tier Chud. You actually get some like slower, groovier moments. There's a really good kind of gallop in the beginning.
It's a sweet opening riff.
Yeah, absolutely awesome riffs that really stick with you. And then you get the intermittent, grindy sections on there. There's some good syncopated chugs. And it's probably the only time I could really make out what the dude was saying. It's just repeating Apex Chud towards the end. It's like, yeah, I made out those words.
I missed it.
The rest of it, like, again, it's just a very like caveman disgusting delivery, and like everyone's performance on here is just nothing held back at all. Like the drummer's kit is probably dead or in witness protection.
Yeah, I'm straight tired for this dude, man. It violent. Not only is he beating the shit out of the drums, but he's doing it in just violent, grindy fits.
And that one actually, again, has some cool tremolo harmonies, which finding melodies on here can be a little bit difficult at times, because, again, everything is moving super quickly for the most part, which is kind of a problem for me in terms of, like, having these songs really latch on. A lot of this can kind of come across as like a blast beat buffet and just swampy musical tantrums left and right. And for me, that's problematic because some of these songs really didn't get a chance to stand out. Like, there aren't enough moments in there for me to latch on. And again, they're, you know, kind of thing about like moving on to the next thing very quickly. Like, you get like one measure of riff, turn over into a completely different riff. Now we're doing a, you know, kind of a slower churn for just a second, and then we're off to the races once again. And then sometimes we just kind of go completely off the rotten script they already had, and you get a song like Desire for Agony, which is almost like Portal grindcore.
Or fossilization grindcore. Now, I do like that song actually had melody in it. That little Middle Eastern melody.
At the end, it was...
Yeah, weird thing.
It's like hypnotic. It was like you have to buy a pumpkin witch or skull mask and watch TV at a certain time.
But it had this like cool bouncy groove over it too, so it was just a little like almost like circus whimsical.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that I noticed was like the like wall of dissonant guitars. Like it's very atonal, very dark sounding, and I don't know, it's a different sort of
icky
on here. Yeah, that is definitely a word for it.
Icky.
But overall, I don't know. I kind of enjoyed this, but at the same time, I'm a little bit more of a fan of the first one. Granted, I've had more time with that one, but I know the production on that one kind of fit a little bit more than this one. This is just so damn raw and so damn primitive. Like, if you want your death metal to not even know how to read, this is like one.
D8.
It's just a violent, feral child that can't be put anywhere on his own and possibly has to wear a leash. Like, that is this kind of death metal. But overall, I'm going to give it 3 stars. It's honestly just kind of enjoyable for how absolutely savage it is. Like, it kind of goes beyond just being brutal and heavy and chuggy. Like, it is kind of grindcore levels of like ferocity on here mixed in with like just death metal brutality. Like, this band is kind of a death grind band, I would say now, or at least in my book, because I think the songs for the most part are a little bit more shortened up, maybe minus final hours. But the stuff that I really latched onto was the stuff that kind of, you know, balanced it out. Like, you had good groovy sections, those doomier riffs that came in, absolutely disgusting sounding. When they balance it out, it becomes a little bit more memorable because there's more dynamics to the song. But this is caveman death metal. It's not necessarily always about dynamics. It's about how hard they can club you over the head. And this clubs really hard.
Ooga. Booga.
If you're a big fan, again, of bands like Autopsy, again, Ruin, I would even say Ascended Dead. Like, it kind of has that kind of level of craziness to it. Check this band out. Check out their first album too. It's absolutely awesome. But yeah, this one, little bit more on the raw side, but still pretty damn good.
This isn't really my bag. So I'm gonna go with a 2.5. Don't let that sway you. I couldn't make out any English word in the dictionary that he was speaking, and maybe he was speaking Australian. I don't know.
He was speaking in the barf lexicon, I'm pretty sure.
Australia is ugly, apparently, because that's what this music is. It's chaos, hellish. When it did get groovy and doomy, that's when I perked up. And if, I don't know, if the production was a little cleaner and a little more doomier at times, I'd probably dig it a little more. But if chaos and the sound of your skin being ripped off while you're still alive is your bag, then Contaminated is your band. Because it's icky, mate. I had to throw one in there. It's a knife. This is a knife. I got a knife.
I'm going to give this a 3.5. I really liked it. I like crazy, unhinged music, especially when it sounds gross and grimy like this. It's a great mixture, in my opinion, of insanity and just a bunch of stank-faced, nasty riffs. Now, once again, if you guys all know me, you know that I live for dissonant, atonal riffs, and this is full of that. And although the transitions are a little rough and a little wonky sometimes...
Wonky, eh?
It always transitions out of something grindy to something mind-numbingly heavy. Tons of chugs, tons of sweet grooves, the ooga booga. It oogas and boogas, and possibly boogas harder than it oogas. I'm not 100%.
Crikey!
It could be more ooga, more booga.
But again, I like the mixture of grind and doom and just straight fucking nasty beat down breakdowns. I thought it was really good. If you like bands like Undergang and Suffocation and definitely Morbid Angel, there's a lot of Morbid Angel tremolo going on in here. Hyperdontia, Miko. I know no one's really ever heard of that band. I'm about to go over them and what's John jamming. Check out Miko. There's a lot of similarities here. Incantation, Autopsy. I mean, there's just a bunch of things going on. And if you like gross, heavy, unhinged music, you're probably going to dig this. I'd recommend checking it out.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. Our Patreon link is there. It is also on our channel up in the banner in the bottom right-hand corner. But thrallsmetal.com is where you go to get Thralls Metal stuff. We have new shirts. We have old shirts that are discounted, provided we have your size. And we also have hats. So if you're looking for any of that stuff, click the link down below.
Tons of stuff going on at Thralls of Metal between collection updates and the ton of album reviews we have coming. We have discography rankings coming, the Black Dahlia Murder and the Almighty Meshuggah. Both of those are going to be insane. What's John Jamming will make a return, I promise. Let me work out my life. But really, we do all this stuff for you guys. We genuinely appreciate you. We thank you from the bottom of our blackened little hearts that you guys still want to make Thralls of Metal a part of your life after 5 long years. It's been 5 years, and we couldn't do it without you guys. Nick, tell them more.
You guys flat out rule. And again, I'm just absolutely astounded at how big this channel got, because it was never supposed to get this big. Nope. It was really irresponsible of you guys to subscribe to this channel and tell your friends about it. Right. Seriously, you're disappointing your family right now. But we appreciate that because it is just awesome doing this. And again, we have a ton of stuff planned for you. So one more big thank you because you guys are absolutely awesome. And we will catch you later.